We've gathered here tonight, around the fire, as people of all lands have gathered for thousands and thousands of years before us.
Oh, hello there. So glad you could come along. I am the Dream Finder.
Hey, it looks like the storm is finally letting up. Well, maybe the Sunday drivers will come out hunting for gas.
Come on, baby, let's exercise.
Wayne, thank goodness you're all right. Is everything okay?
Honey, I shrunk the audience.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your passport to the Disney parks. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is hopefully lucky number 777. And this and every week, as we have been since 2004, I want to not only help you have the best possible vacation experience when you go to, and in this week's case, eat at the parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of Disney magic wherever you are, not just here on the podcast, but my weekly live video every Wednesday night, blog, events, weekly newsletter updates, and more. Please join the community and find everything at WDWRadio.com. On this week's show, Disney magic meets culinary adventure as we recorded live from Narcoossee's nestled on the shores of the Seven Seas Lagoon at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. I haven't been here in more than a decade, so this was a pretty new experience for me, and spoiler alert, was surprising in more ways than one. I'll be very curious to hear if this review adds Narcoossee's to your Disney dining bucket list. And remember, don't listen hungry. Stay tuned for our Disney Trivia Question of the Week and more updates at the end of the show. And if you like what you hear, please share the show and tell a friend and invite them to be part of the community and conversation. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show.
For many, many years, a Walt Disney World restaurant that is not only a favorite of many, but is sort of lauded as one of the best anywhere on property is Narcoossee's at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. The last time I was here was maybe 10, 12, maybe 15 years ago. And in April of 2023, they had opened up after a relatively long and somewhat extensive refurbishment. And I said on more than one occasion that if only there was somebody, anybody, that would go and review it with me. Well, fortunately, someone stepped up, and they stepped up in a big, big way. Because in January, during Marathon Weekend, we held our Dream Team charity auction. And one of the lots that I wasn't even sure anybody was going to bid on was something that we did probably 10 years ago, which was co-host for the day. Well, longtime friends, fellow cruisers, fellow foodies stepped up in a massive way and contributed to our Dream Team project, which benefits the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. And it didn't take many emails to come up with the idea of let's do a live dining review in one of their favorite restaurants. And so I'd love to introduce, for the first time ever on the show, although I've seen you in the box on Wednesday nights, Betsy and Ken House.
Hey, Lou. Hey, family.
Hi.
So I don't think I've seen you other than in January. I think the last time I saw you was probably on The Wish. I think we were on
We've done some meet and greets with you. Yeah, so we've seen you a few times at meet and greets, but yeah, we did spend that significant time with you on The Wish.
I remember sitting in the Hyperspace Lounge for a very long period of time, talking, Ken, about your career and what you do. A little bit of Star Wars in there as well. So just very quickly, give a little bit of a background of who you are and why. Why are you here? Why did you want to sort of be part of this? And
well, I'm an ordained United Methodist minister. My husband, Ken, is an international pilot with Delta Airlines, so we like to be known as a wing and a prayer. Insert laughter here. And we've been Disney fans forever. I came my first time in 1971, December, right after it opened, as a very, very tiny, small child person. We basically raised our girls to be Disney fans, and going to the Make-A-Wish Foundation luncheon was something that was very natural for Ken and me to do. We both graduated from Penn State, which supports one of the largest philanthropy that supports children with cancer in the country. It's called Thon. In fact, this year they raised almost $17 million to support children with pediatric cancer, and we've been a part of that effort since college. And so when we got an invitation to come to your luncheon and support Make-A-Wish Foundation, that was a real natural connection for us to come and be people who stand behind young children as they're going through hard times. And so it was a real delight. Ken surprised me by outbidding everybody in the room so that I could be the co-host of the podcast, because being a preacher, I thought, I could easily do that. I talk for a living. And then, we decided to invite him because Lou and I had this conversation and said, well, if there's three of us, we can order more food.
And of course, it would not be, and you're right, I'm happy to have you here, not just because of the food, but again, I appreciate your incredible generosity, and obviously it goes a long way towards, we were able to fulfill a child's wish to be able to come after that day. So, and you picked Narcoossee's because this is like your old stomping ground.
Yes. I don't even remember the first time we came here, but when back in the day, Delta and Disney had a collaboration where they were partners. And when our children were very young, we could get 50% off of resort rooms on Disney properties because of the Delta-Disney partnership. So one of our favorite places to come was Grand Floridian. And this kind of became like a home port for us back in the day. And Narcoossee's, once we first discovered it, then became that heartfelt place. And I want Ken to tell you the story about a very difficult time we went through when a bartender in Narcoossee's made everything magical one night.
Well, we came here right after we bought a house in the area, and we closed on the house. We finally everything was done. We had the furniture ordered, and we were coming down from our place in the Outer Banks of North Carolina to set up in the house. And the night before we came, we got a phone call from our contractor who was just doing some minor things for us. And he said, we had a little accident and a pipe burst. And I said, like little accident? And he said, well, and he said, but it'll be fine. And so we got in the next day. We drove from North Carolina. And when we got in the next day, there were 12 of those 5-foot dehumidifiers. And there were about 15 fans and hoses running all over the place. And there was an 8-foot hole in the ceiling of 2 different floors of this. And he had stepped on a pipe and broken it and didn't know where the water shutoff was. And it ran for 23 minutes. And we had all of our furniture being delivered the next day. And so we came in and we knew we couldn't stay in the house. And so we got a hotel, and we said, it was very frustrating, and we just said, let's just go out to Narcoossee's, and luckily they could take us, and we came in, and we met, again, with we had met him before, Serge. He's one of the best bartenders here, just friendly to us, and he listened to our story, and he had lived in where we lived for a while in Celebration, and it was just nice, and then we came in, and we were just kind of stunned still from the day. And we were sitting at the table, and the server came, and she was just lovely. And she comes over, and she says, rough day. And we told her a little bit of it. And she said, I've got an open room. She said, if you need someplace to stay, you can come stay with me. And we just thought, how incredible is that? You can't even have words to think that somebody who's helping you like that. So that was kind of our story about this place.
If it wasn't Disney, that's usually the beginning of how a horror movie starts. I have an extra room. Come on in. What could possibly go wrong? And I think, you talked about Serge. We had a chance to meet our server, Josh. And you see right out of the gates, one of the things that has always been, I think, a hallmark of not just Disney, but Narcoossee's, has been the service. As we were talking about ordering a beverage or a cocktail before, his knowledge of the menu and the drinks and what your personal preference might be was fascinating to me. He recommended a few, and then he sort of got a sense of what your tastes and flavors might be and directed you somewhere else. I love that time and attention that's taken. And it doesn't just happen here, but that impressed me right out of the gate coming in. And from what I understand from the two of you, that seems to be consistent whenever you come.
I think that is a hallmark of anything you do with Disney. The training that the cast members go through, the selection process of hiring cast members, you know that they're really looking particularly for people who listen well and who want to help and want to serve, who can become knowledgeable in whatever area they're serving in. We just got off the Magic, and the cast on the Magic was incredible. And I can't say that I've ever had an experience with Disney where I didn't say the same thing. Cast members are so well trained and so good at what they do and so joyful to be here and to make that little bit of magic happen with you. It's just such a wonderful place to be.
And that's the difference, right? You might be able to go elsewhere and the food is good, the entertainment is good, the rooms are beautiful, but there's that intangible, unquantifiable thing that the cast members have. I've seen it on Disney Cruise Line. I've compared it with other cruise lines. I've seen it at, from the hotel side, the restaurant side, the entertainment side. It's why we get it. And it's why sometimes it's hard to explain to people that don't exactly what it is that we're talking about. Because it's the consistency and the exceeding expectations that we get. All that being said, we are here not just for the food, but for the view. I think Narcoossee has some of the most beautiful views anywhere. We're looking out over Seven Seas Lagoon, Cinderella Castle. You feel like you could reach out and touch it. Space Mountain and the Contemporary. And if you time your reservation just right, you can catch the fireworks at night. We talked about the renovations. I have a somewhat foggy, I sort of remember more seafoamy green type colors in here, where now it's sort of a muted blue pastel that sort of fits really into the theming of Grand Floridian. As the resident Narcoossee experts, how has this changed for you? Because the layout hasn't changed. It's still that center bar sort of surrounded by the most of the tables really are almost window side.
Well, first of all, I have a question for you. Do you know what Narcoossee means?
I do.
What is it?
Baby bear or little bear.
Little bear. And so they call this little bear because what do we eat at Narcoossee's?
I was going to say, I'm looking at the menu. I don't see bear anywhere on the menu.
No, bears don't eat bears. Bears eat fish. And so this is one of the premier seafood places in the area. I think the renovation has been stunning. And a lot of times I'm not really excited about renovation. I'm old school. I like things to kind of remain the same. And if it takes on too much of an IKEA vibe, I get a little disappointed. I will tell you, if you know what Narcoossee's look like and come in here today, you will be pleasantly surprised. They've gone to this very beautiful aqua turquoise, very coastal vibe kind of beauty around us. And the bar, which used to be a mural, and it had fish and it had a lot of pastels. They've really done an interesting thing with the bar to put in shelving units. And then it's if you sit there, the longer you look, the more interesting things you see on the shelving units. And they put that beautiful, the Florida glass in the middle in the aqua color. I think they've done a great job with the renovation. They used to have a lot of dark wood and cobalt blue. So if you think of those two colors, and then you look around you with the bleached woods and the turquoise shutters and everything, it's just beautiful. But they've maintained the integrity of the beauty of the place. Of course, the most beautiful thing about the place is the view.
And if you've been to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort before, and maybe you've never seen Narcoossee's, it's because it's it's in its own sort of outbuilding on the water. And when you look at the menu and you look at the offerings, you look at sort of the prices, it is definitely a more upscale, and very much more on the upscale side. But there's something very comfortable about this space where you don't feel that it's stuffy or too overly dressy. You can come here, as a lot of guests do, right from the park, so you can come in casual but still have an elevated meal and experience.
It doesn't feel fussy in here. It feels very...
Fussy, that's the right word.
It feels... I like words. It feels warm and inviting and welcoming. And when I think about value, it is one of the higher end price-wise, but you're going to get a lot of good value here, because think about it this way. Yes, this is high-end price-wise, but where can you go and have a wonderful, upgraded meal, and then you can walk outside or even sit at your table and watch the fireworks, and then you can watch the electrical boat magical pageant thing come. What do they call the electrical?
Water pageant.
The water pageant. Thank you. The water pageant come along.
I like your description. The actual magical water boat thing.
Again, I like words. If I throw enough words at it, you'll get it. You're a lawyer. You know about throwing more words until you finally get to it. So, yeah, it is for value. This view, the 2 shows if you time it right, and the very high-quality, sustainable fish offerings. I mean, you can't beat it. It's one of those places that you want to come at any point, but definitely an anniversary, a birthday party, a graduation. It's that elevated, but it's also come straight out of the park, sit down and have a good meal.
I was going to say, you can come here for a special occasion, but you can also come here just as a place to have something that you might be looking for. Yeah. As long as we're talking about food, why don't we take a look and peruse the menu a little bit?
All right.
And like a lot of restaurants, it is a single-page menu, but what I love is that there's a lot of options on it. And the starters have a Narcoossee chilled seafood plateau, king crab, tuna poke, colossal poached shrimp, and coconut Thai mussels. That appetizer comes in at $139. There's also a brisket and regatta tortellini, a buttermilk fried calamari, ocean-inspired charcuterie board with ahi tuna pastrami, charred, oh my God, I'm so hungry, lobster sausage. There's shrimp and grits and sweet potato gnocchi. Those all come in anywhere between $16 and $28. For soups and salad, there's a romaine and hearts of palm, a blueberry and barrel-aged feta salad, and according to our server, a lobster bisque that will forever sour you towards lobster bisque. Any, you're nodding your head. Have you had it before?
We did have it pre-renovation, and it's done basically the same way. They're going to bring out a beautiful bowl with a nice, huge chunk of lobster, and then they're going to pour the bisque in. So not only do you get a great bowl of soup, you get a presentation with your bowl of soup. And it looks delicious.
I'm sweating out of excitement. There are 8 main entrees that include a yuzu ginger salmon, plancha seared scallops and Parisian gnocchi, Gulf shrimp bucatini, surf and turf, blackened redfish, prime New York strip steak, a milk brine pork chop with winter squash Johnny cakes, and a roasted vegetable paella, which our server explained is a vegetarian meal, which I love, the fact that there's vegetarian and vegan options, but you can enhance that or anything else with plancha seared scallops, butter poached lobster tail, and char-broiled Gulf shrimp. I am very confused and excited all at the same time. Ladies first, what sort of jumps out on the menu to you, or what is something that you've had before that you recommend?
2 things that immediately jumped out to me. The blackened redfish is their signature dish. The chef here is named Chef Noah, which is really good when you're surrounded by water. You want Noah at the helm. So I'm kind of liking that vibe. It comes with, southern sweet corn and this chorizo suncho cash. That looks amazing. And then the other thing, and maybe this is my number 1 choice, the plancha seared scallops and Parisian gnocchi, because this truffled Meyer lemon cream, one has to think, what in the world could that possibly taste like? And is it a little taste of heaven down here on earth? That just sounds delicious. I like scallops if they're well done. And a plancha seared scallop means it's done on that flat cast iron kind of a hot plate thing. So you have a chance that it's going to be seared to your liking. And I think they will ask us how you want it seared, like they do with steak. So I don't like mine too rubbery in the middle. So I'm grateful to be in a place where they ask me how I want it seared. And that's usually what I say, just no rubber in the middle, whatever your chef calls that. So those 2 things jump out at me.
Yeah, I think that the salmon looked really good. It's yuzu ginger salmon with white asparagus. I mean, that's something that you just don't get very much. And that sounds good. There's things on this that look good, but I just never order a pork chop at really when I go, pretty much when I go out. When you think, I don't know, pork chop's one of those things that you make at home and you just aren't thinking, oh yeah, let's go to a fine restaurant and get a pork chop. But they do have the milk brine pork chop. And then the other thing for me that looked really good was the Gulf shrimp bucatini over house-made bucatini pasta. So that just sounded like some really good things.
I'm excited and confused all at the same time. And you know the rules, right? We can't get the same thing. We all have to. And we're all family here, so we need to sample sometimes a little bit from each other's plates because that's how we do. Oh, wait. There's also sides. There's loaded mashed potatoes with a garlic glazed pork belly, creme fraiche, and smoked cheddar. Stop the presses.
What?
wild mushroom risotto and sweet and sour Brussels sprouts. I need like a sampler platter. I just need them to do a little bit of like a Narcoossee buffet, as it were.
And the Brussels sprouts they just sound wonderful. It's like hiding those vegetables in all those other things.
I might wait to see what you order first, and that will give me time to figure out. I'm so happy you guys won, not just for the company, but for picking Narcoossee.
We're a family like this. So we have 2 daughters, and when we go out, you don't enjoy it as much if somebody else isn't enjoying it also. So, like, you have the plate, and the girls always say, "So, is it good?" And they're looking at it like, "When am I tasting this?" And then when it's good is when everybody says it's good. It's not just when you say it. You don't look, you're not one of those people that you kind of turn your plate away and turn your shoulder and go, nobody's touching my food.
Just so you know, I eat like I'm in prison. I sort of like hover over my food and like get it in. So you have to get in there very, very quickly. I'm incredibly excited. And they do have a separate menu for guests 9 and under. And what I love too is, like you said, you don't normally see a pork chop necessarily on a menu. There's pork, there's steak, there's fish, and there's vegetables. And for kids, there's a chopped salad and calamari rings as an appetizer. You can create your own meal, and there's entrees. That's really nice. With 1 entree and 2 selections: grilled chicken breast, grilled steak, seasonal fish, and crispy fried chicken strips. And then for the sides, there's haricot verts, grapes and strawberries, a Nemo cupcake, brown basmati rice, mac and cheese, and Bruce's raspberry sorbet. So I love the fact that for kids, it's not just you have chicken tenders or a hamburger.
Yes.
Kids can have fish and steak, so they get a little bit of an upscale meal, but still things that are very approachable for kids as well.
I totally agree. We tried with our daughters to introduce them to all different kinds of foods, and we now have 6 grandchildren. And when we take them out, we encourage them to try new things. And as Ken says, we all eat off each other's plates. So we're always saying, do you want to taste this? Do you want to taste that? And even our 20-month-old twins now know that they can pretty much eat anything they want off of Papa's plate as long as they're sitting close enough to reach over and grab it.
You have no other choice but to share. I am very, very, very excited.
All right, so we're a land and sea themed restaurant. A couple of my personal favorites on the menu. I love the plancha seared scallops with the Parisian style gnocchi. It comes with tasso ham, English peas, a Meyer lemon, and truffle cream sauce. Really delicious, well balanced dish that I love. If anybody is vegetarian, the roasted vegetable paella is also phenomenal. It's a little bit of an underdog on the menu. I love it, but I am not vegetarian. So I usually load that up with seafood using the enhancements at the bottom. And you can attach seafood to any entree or salad using those enhancements there. So I like to get the paella and load it up with like scallops. Or on my birthday, I got it loaded up with scallops, shrimp, lobster, and an order of calamari dumped on top. They now call that the Josh Special. When we get to the salads, the romaine salad is going to be like an elevated Caesar salad. So all the traditional components with a little bit different of a twist. The blueberry and barrel-aged feta salad is my personal favorite. Has a lot of great textures like toasted pistachios, some blueberries. Then it has the cornbread crackers in there, and the barrel-aged feta gives it a very unique flavor. As far as our lobster bisque, it will make you hate all other lobster bisques because it's just that good. And when we get up to the starters, the brisket ricotta tortelloni is hands down my favorite. It's all made in-house by hand, so we braise down a brisket and we shred it up, put it into some fresh handmade pasta with ricotta cheese, and we use the braising liquid to make a red wine reduction sauce that goes with some parsnip puree and wilted Swiss chard. I also really love our ocean-inspired charcuterie board. It's all seafood-based, so there's a lobster sausage, tuna pastrami, sous vide, and grilled octopus, so really outside-of-the-box thinking. And then lastly, we have the seafood plateau, which is a great sharing option if we are seafood fanatics there.
I still believe in ladies first, Betsy.
I appreciate that.
Plus, I want to see where you're going with this.
I would like to start with the blueberry and barrel-aged feta salad.
That's my favorite.
Thank you. And I think I would like to just keep that lemon thing going. Excuse me, and I'll get the plancha seared scallops and Parisian gnocchi because that truffled Meyer lemon cream sounds like it came from heaven. Okay.
I like that.
How about for the gentleman?
So I was thinking of the tortellini. You like that? Something good for sharing for 3 people?
It's going to be perfect for 3 people. It comes with 3 individual tortellonis. Perfect.
That's exactly right. And the romaine and hearts of palm. And then, so if you were going to get I know this is tough because people say, well, I don't know what you like, but the shrimp or the salmon, which...
I would go with the salmon, and only because I love the shrimp pasta, but I can make a shrimp pasta at the house. The salmon is a little bit more something I wouldn't make at home often, so I would lean towards that. That's how I would break it down to that.
Yes, please. And then we probably have to have some of those Brussels sprouts. And I don't know, were you going to do the mashed potatoes? So somewhere there. Okay.
Well, now I'm more confused than ever. We definitely need a lobster bisque, because according to you, you said something about changing our lives forever.
Yes, it's gonna make you have to come back here every time. You'll be addicted, and you'll have to come get your fix with our lobster bisque.
Is there a 12-step program for after we're addicted? Okay.
I have never seen anybody reach the first month, so.
Okay, so you're getting the gnocchi.
Right.
And no, right? You're getting the gnocchi, and you're getting the.
No, I didn't order anything.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Level.
Right,
Yeah.
for your
I'm
entree,
getting this
the scallops and the gnocchi.
Yes.
And then you ordered the salmon.
And the salmon.
All right, so they took the two I was looking at. Other than maybe you recommended the roasted vegetable paella with one of the enhancements.
I prefer it with scallops. I definitely love the scallops. Gulf shrimp are good, but personally, I can cook shrimp at the house. Lobster, I personally prefer shrimp over lobster, and scallops are just delicious. They have a sweet flavor to them naturally, and then they're just perfectly seasoned.
Now, we are getting an order of scallops here if you want to change it up and get something different with your paella. Oh, I know. Now, the waiter said one thing, and Betsy said something else.
I'm all over the place. All right, I'm going to do the vegetable paella, and I'm going to leave it up to you. You choose either what you think is better, the scallops or the shrimp.
All right, it sounds good. I'll take care of that.
So our first starter just came out, the brisket, and we got the tortellini with parsnip, brown butter, and sultana raisins. Comes at $17. There was 3 large tortellinis, which was perfect because there's 3 of us. I could have 6 more of those and make that a meal.
Yes. It's got this wonderful texture. The brisket is perfectly cooked and tender and shredded inside the tortellini, and it has some ricotta in there, and then you get this wonderful brown butter parsnippy thing. Sultana raisins, which are the beautiful white raisins from Sultana grapes, give a little bit of a texture and a sweetness, and I think we should just tell them to send back the rest of the food and bring us 8 more of these plates.
Yeah, that stuff is so good. What was it sitting in again? It was sitting in
That's a parsnip puree.
the parsnip puree. That was so good, and it had just a little bit. I think the raisins gave just a little bit of sweet to that, so that was great for me.
It's this warm, buttery, velvety texture. Everything you said was on point. I just kept putting the microphone in front of your face so you didn't watch me licking the bottom of the bowl. That was...
No judgment. You lick away, Lou Mangello.
That's why I don't do this on video. That's remarkably good. But also, it's on paper it sounds heavy, but it's not at all. Because sometimes you get pasta dishes like this, and they can feel very heavy. Oh, look, our next appetizer is here. I'm so excited.
We're not eating fast enough.
So I'm just going to say that although your salads look lovely, I won the soup and salad lottery, without a doubt. You have the blueberry and barrel-aged feta salad, which looks delicious.
Yes.
I don't know what all that green stuff in there, but I'm assuming that it's healthy.
We call it vegetables.
That's
Lou.
fine. You have the romaine and hearts of palm.
Right, which even when she brought it to me, she said you had the Caesar salad. So she's not even calling it that thing. So it's a Caesar salad, but it looks like a really nice one.
It looks lovely, and I'm really happy for all of you. I'm going to take my lobster bisque. It comes served in you get this almost a little bit larger than a golf ball sized piece of butter poached lobster with vanilla and coral on top, and then they pour in the bisque over and around. It smells fantastic. Bon appetit. Waste all the good stuff.
So we're tasting Lou's lobster bisque, and I just took a bit of the broth, and the first thing you get is this warm, buttery, very seafood forward, lobster forward, and then on the back, it's a bit of a nice burn, a little bit of a spice, and it's all just like, it's like if you could melt down velvet and put it in a bowl. That's what we just got.
That was so good. The lobster itself doesn't have any of the fishy taste or anything. It just is a smooth lobster. It's wonderful, and the broth is just excellent.
I stopped listening when I put my first taste in my mouth. You're right that the lobster, again, we're talking about scallops, lobster, certain things. The way it is cooked can make or break. Seconds make a difference.
Yes.
This lobster, spoon cut, it literally just melts on your palate.
Yep.
You get that warmth of the bisque sort of just surrounding it, that little taste of the vanilla on top. It's this wonderful warmth, comfort food, savory. He's right. That's up there in terms of lobster bisques.
Game changer. I know that it's poached in butter, and so you almost have a feeling that water did not touch this lobster, that it was entirely cooked in butter.
It just swam in butter its whole life.
Swam in butter until it reached Lou's spoon. Who doesn't like that?
So for those of us who had salad, which would be the two of you, I'm still licking the bottom of my lobster bisque plate. That is lobster bisque at $19 sounds expensive. I have zero regrets over spending that on this. You have the blueberry and barrel-aged feta salad, which, beautiful presentation.
Yes, it's huge. It comes on a dinner plate, and it goes to all of the edges of the dinner plate. Normally a appetizer salad might be in a small bowl, but this could even easily be an entree, and you could put an enhancement on it, and Bob's your uncle. There's your dinner. So it's blueberry and barrel-aged feta salad with tiny lettuce, and let me say that that's a lie. There's nothing tiny about the lettuce on my plate. It is a huge, huge bunch of lettuce. It's the kind of a rough, curly lettuce. There's a cornbread cracker. The only disappointment on the plate was the cornbread cracker because it's kind of too soft to be a cracker. It's very thin, little sliver of cornbread, but soggy. Pistachio and the lemon curd dressing. If I could lick the plate, I would, but
you did. Don't. There's no video. It's fine. I'm going to call you out though.
Lou's over here licking the bowl on the lobster bisque, and I thought if two of us are seen doing it side by side, they would definitely kick us out. I would definitely order this again, just not have any high hopes for the cornbread cracker, and enjoy the feta and the blueberry. The blueberry gives that beautiful texture and the sweetness of the blueberry against the lemon curd, against the feta, which is very salty. Let me tell you, when you order this salad, do not pick up the salt shaker and try to salt it because the feta itself is very salty. But this, to me, is a hit.
I would love to see that, and I wonder if they would even do it because yours looks like it's on iceberg or romaine. I would love to see it. I'm not a mixed green guy. It's a little bitter for me.
Yeah. And I'll say that the bitterness was counteracted by the blueberries. That was the thing that fixed that for me. And then I had, when the people brought it, they said it was the romaine salad. But when the people brought it, they said, "Oh, I got your Caesar salad." That wasn't anywhere on what it was. But a couple of the things that were really good in here were that you don't expect in a normal Caesar salad. They had some looked like onions, and it had some fried capers. And I'm a caper person. I mean, I love the little bit of tartness of capers and things. So I thought the salad was great. This was, I thought that the blueberry salad looked really nice, and on the menu it looked better, but I think mine probably tastes better.
This is how my mind works. Is it wrong that as he was saying capers, I'm already planning my breakfast for tomorrow morning? I'm like, a nice bagel with a little schmear and lox and onions and capers would be a nice way to start a Tuesday morning.
You just pair that up with a coffee regular, and you got it.
Coffee, Kawffe,
yes.
coffee.
Regular.
Really impressed so far. Starter soup and salads. Let's see if the entrees live up to expectations. So, Ken, you got the yuzu ginger salmon with the white asparagus, the coconut jade rice, and the lemon Thai basil emulsion.
I did, and the salmon's got just a little bit of heat on it, which I absolutely love. And it's the white asparagus, or as I'm used to, spargle. It is perfectly cooked. It's just got that tiny bit of crunch to it. I hate soggy asparagus, and so that is really good. And then it's sitting on the coconut jasmine rice, which the flavors just go together so well. I mean, really, to me, the best part of it is the little bit of the heat, but the salmon's perfectly cooked. It just flakes off on your fork. Really good.
You know, salmon, like scallops, is one of those, like for me, I have to sort of almost be in the mood for salmon, and a matter of seconds can probably make or break it. You're right. There's just enough of texture on the outside, but it's moist, it's flaky, like you said, it falls apart. But then I look over and I see Betsy's digging into her food. You put your hands up like a little kid and you shuddered when you put the scallop. You just did it again. You shuddered when you put the scallops in your mouth.
Oh my gosh. Now is when words are going to fail me because this is just absolutely exquisite. So this is the, help me find it here, the pancha seared scallops and Parisian gnocchi. My first bite, and by the way, pro tip, don't bother using your fork. Get a big spoon and eat this thing with your big spoon because you want to get...
That's not a spoon, that's a shovel.
Get a shovel. Get the loose size shovel. You want to use a spoon for this. The truffled Meyer lemon cream is absolutely divine. I know a little bit about divine. I know what I'm talking about. There is a earthy balance of this lemon cream, and then you have English peas in there, which give it great texture. They are not mushy peas, which you can buy in England, but these are not English mushy peas. These are beautiful peas, and there are also some mushrooms in here. So you get some earthiness from the mushroom, the brightness of the pea. The gnocchi was made by Lou's grandmama. I mean, somebody who grew up in Italy and moved to South Jersey knows how to make this gnocchi. And then the scallops are, and I always hate to use this phrase because everybody says it, but they're perfectly cooked. They could not be cooked better. I don't like scallops that are gluey in the middle or jelly in the middle, and these are firm. These actually taste like somebody took lobster and used a hole punch and punched out a big piece of lobster and served it to you as a scallop. And then on the top are some microgreens, which give it, again, that gives it a nice crunch and texture, and it makes you think you're eating something healthy, which is always good.
Betsy, I've known you a relatively long time, and even if I didn't, I would never call you a liar to your face. However, I don't believe you, so I'm going to give you my as-yet unused spoon.
Bring your spoon. Bring your shovel over.
I'm just going to you're just going to let me dive right in and...
Get in there.
I want to make sure I get a little bit of everything.
Get some gnocchi, get some scallops. Make sure you get at least one pea, Lou.
Did I get...
Doesn't that make you go, oh?
Oh, I see why I made the face. Wait.
Oh, my gosh. It's incredible.
So what is it that has that almost like a citrusy sort of finish on top?
That's
wow.
the Meyer lemon. So they put Meyer lemon in a cream. There's also a bit of tasso ham in there, which gives it the nice saltiness. But it's this combination of everything has a different texture, but it's all sitting in this heavenly Meyer lemon cream. I wish they would bottle that. I would pay whatever they want to take a bottle of that home.
I was going to say I would bathe in it, but that would be weird. But it's also, the portion sizes are wonderfully large. Sometimes you come to a little bit more of an upscale restaurant and the price does not necessarily reflect the portion size. This is quite the opposite. You had at least 6 very large, very tender scallops in there as well.
Yeah, this could be dinner tonight and lunch tomorrow for sure. And when we eat out places where you get a large portion, you're looking at a price point and you're thinking, oh, okay, what is that? $50 for an entree, but then you take half of it home and you have it for lunch, then it's $25 for each of those meals.
Do you really think anything's going to survive tonight? Do you think
Possibly not. This is our first time to dine with you, Lou, so we'll find out.
That's wow, that's wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's really, really good. I want you to try the roasted vegetable paella with mixed vegetables.
So what are the different vegetables?
So I see, it's like romper room. I see what looks to be red pepper. I see green beans. I see artichoke. Caramelized beans. There's some charred lemon in there as well. And we did the enhancement of the same thing, the plancha seared scallops as well.
And that was a choice enhancement.
Right, you can do that.
No, but I mean, but you said.
I said choose, and that's what he chose. You could also do lobster tail and the Gulf shrimp.
Cooked really well.
Oh my God. I would like to give some very intelligent and relevant commentary on this, but I got to eat right now. So, Lou, you say something.
So scallops was the thing. It was actually Betsy's dad's favorite seafood. And the whole time, no matter where we went, the whole time, and that's what he would take. And these are some of the best. They really are good.
I love the smoky flavor of a charred vegetable.
Yeah.
The rice is wonderful. This is fine. It's fantastic without an enhancement. I almost don't need the scallops. I mean, I'm happy I got them, but I almost don't need the scallops on top. Again, too, and I'll post pictures of all of these in the show notes at WDWRadio.com so you can see what these look like. This is a full, hearty, but not heavy meal. It's a great vegetarian option. I think even if you're not vegetarian, I think it's a great option as well. It's incredibly flavorful. I love, again, if rice was healthy, this is delicious. I'm really happy with my selection.
So Ken has shared with us a bite of his, he's ordered the salmon plate, and he has shared with us this white asparagus, spargle, as he calls it, from having traveled so much in Europe. And it's a roasted spargle, but there is some heat coming off that thing. What do you think that is? Just something delicious. It's a sambal white.
I didn't taste any heat on the salmon, but whatever was on there.
On the white asparagus.
And not so much that it overtakes the flavor of the vegetable, and certainly overpowering the salmon as well.
No, I wouldn't worry about it if you were someone who didn't like hot things. I just, for me, I like just a tiny bit of spice to almost all the foods that I'm eating.
Oh my gosh.
Betsy, I think we'd be remiss and really doing a disservice if we don't talk about one of the sides that we ordered, which was the sweet and sour, which is an absolutely appropriate, and it sounds bizarre, sweet and sour Brussels sprouts. And if you were a kid who's like, I hate Brussels sprouts, I would never eat it, these might be the thing that completely changes your opinion.
I agree. I think they've done a great job with giving you what's really a complete dish. It has applewood smoked bacon in it, so you get a lot of smokiness. Your first bite is not, this is a Brussels sprout in my mouth. Your first bite is that smoky flavor, and then you pick up on the sweet and sour, and they're done very well. I don't like mushy Brussels sprouts. I like a good roasted Brussels sprout. I want it to still have some firmness. And then they've done this weird gastrique of sorghum and malt. I mean, those are two power grains, and you usually think about making, bread products with sorghum and malt. You think about either bread or beer, but it's almost got a kind of a sideways malt vinegar without being vinegary because of that gastrique. And so you're getting all these different wonderful flavors, and I think that we should also give ourselves a lot of credit for ordering another vegetable.
I'm happy that we did. By the way, that was a beautiful... I have nothing to add because I don't want to ruin what you just said. But I love... There's this sort of lingering flavor on my palate after the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo when I eat. I'm a weirdo when I do a lot of things, but I'm weird because sometimes I like to think about what do I want that last bite in my mouth to be before we move on. I am perfectly content with having that Brussels sprout be the last thing that's sort of sitting in my mouth. And look, he ate everything in his plate. He finished the whole thing.
Ken gets the award for the Clean Plate Club.
Ken gets the award for not sharing any more salmon club.
Oh, yeah. What happened with that? You and I were over here chatting, and he was over there chomping. Yeah.
Clearly, you enjoyed that, and you enjoyed the Brussels sprouts.
That really was good. And when you were saying the last bite thing, that smoked, the applewood smoked bacon, that to me was a great last bite in that whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's just true. Bacon really makes every single thing in the world better.
That's biblical. I can tell you where that comes from.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I was like, wait, is there a verse in the Bible I didn't know about?
It comes from Lahamanus 3:14.
Like Jesus comes out after 40 days and going, you know what? Bacon makes everything better.
Now, Jesus was a good Jewish boy, so he wasn't eating no bacon. But other than that, it's a good analogy, Lou Mangello.
I really should just keep us recording the entire time. We just had a discussion about our cocktails and the old fashions, which were fantastic. And I'm not really a big drinker. And your very wonderfully articulate and flowery description of your drink. But I love how thoughtful, and that's the way I feel. Everything here is very, very, the chefs gave so much thought into not just the individual dishes, but how they pair with the appetizers, the cocktails, the soups, the salads, the starters. I'm sure the desserts are going to deliver in spades because it's clearly very well designed in this being a multi-course experiential type menu.
This, I think this drink was almost more of an experience in a glass as opposed to just a cocktail. This is one of their newly renovated cocktails to celebrate their new renovation of the interior here. And it's a white sangria with Kim Crawford's Sauvignon Blanc, and that's one of my favorite wines. The first time I ever drank it was over at the Brown Derby in Hollywood Studios, and it's something that we keep at home almost all the time. I like a good, dry, crisp wine. I'm not a fan of sweet wine, so if you're a dry wine drinker, this is something I think you would enjoy. And it comes with Kettle One cucumber and mint botanical, agave, and strawberry. So you get floral. You said I was kind of floral in my description of it. Well, you get floral notes because of the botanical vodka that's in there. But the experience comes and the thoughtfulness comes in the fact that they took muddled strawberries and put them in an ice cube tray. And your ice cube for this drink is the muddled strawberry. So you get a piece of fresh mint, you get all of the mixture of the wine and the other things, and then this strawberry ice cube that as you're drinking it, you experience the drink transforming. It changes. It starts one way with fresh mint and it ends in this beautiful sweet strawberry, not sugary strawberry, but fresh sweet strawberry in that muddled strawberry ice cube. It's just genius.
And a beautiful compliment to, especially to the dishes you ordered again,
Yes.
light with the
Yes.
scallops,
Yep.
etc.
Yep.
I want to take just a second, right, because we've been speaking of transforming. Our dinner reservation was for 6:30. We're here in March. This restaurant has transformed from bright and wide and open, and now it's dark outside, and we can look across the Seven Seas Lagoon. We see the train station lit up. We see Space Mountain. We see the Contemporary. We see the castle off in the distance. Like, it's such a beautiful view that changes as you go from day to night too. It's why what we said earlier is even more beautiful at night. And again, if you time your reservation appropriately, you'll be able to catch the fireworks and or the electrical water pageant going by at night too.
Well, tonight the fireworks are at 8:30, and right now we're recording this at 8:19. So, and we haven't had our dessert yet. So I'm thinking fireworks and dessert are going to be a nice pairing of two things. And then the electrical water parade on boats that goes across the lagoon, because I can never remember the pageant. It's going to happen at 8:45. So between the fireworks and the pageant tonight, it's only 15 minutes. So again, you're going to get that full experience. We've seen this transform from day to night. The lights over there have gone on. I've been looking at Space Mountain all night, and it's this beautiful glowy gray-blue, and Main Street lights are on. And I know we overuse this word, but it is magical.
It's dinner and a show. It's dinner. It is. It's a little bit of a dinner show.
And I don't think that, so when the fireworks start, they do not do the speakers inside the restaurant. And I'm trying to remember, I know they do it right at the dock that's only like 50 feet away from here. But, and so you can just go, because people start crowding around that and listening to the whole narration for the fireworks. I don't think they do it just outside by the windows here, but I know that you can go just a minute, from where we are, and you can listen to the whole thing. And we have been here before when we've said to, we're at the point where dessert's just coming, and we go, sorry, I don't want to, but we're going to be back in like 15 minutes here.
Yeah, just cover that with a plate because we'll be right back.
I'm expecting that we'll just sit here and enjoy our dessert, and as the fireworks start, Lou will do the full narration in his Lou voice. You probably have the whole thing memorized. It's Happily Ever After. You know the show. You can sing the songs.
I'm not a sweets guy, but I haven't even seen the dessert menu yet.
Oh, can I tell you what's good on it?
Do you have it memorized, or is it on the back of the menu?
No, I just, no, we don't have the dessert menu yet, but the signature dish here is an almond-crusted cheesecake that comes with a Lambert cherry sauce and a chantilly cream, and it looks absolutely wonderful. So I already have my eye on that. I always like to find out what the signature dish is in a restaurant because that tells you the chef likes it. It's popular, people order it, and this is what they want to be known for. So that is the one signature dish that I spotted before we came in tonight.
I'm already thinking, again, just to sort of round out, I'm thinking about what I want that last flavor on my palate to be. before we go outside and catch the parade and the pageant. When it comes to looking to punctuate a meal that has been as delicious as it was, certainly only overshadowed by the company, of course, it's not just dessert, because we had a surprise tonight. We were not expecting them to dim the lights and pipe in the music for, I almost called it the wishes. I almost called the wishes for Happily Ever After. And then a few minutes later, because of where we are, the electrical water pageant comes just within minutes after. All of that, right before we were served this luxurious, dare I say, decadent dessert. We ordered the almond-crusted cheesecake, the hazelnut chocolate bar, and the pineapple bavarois. You can each of us take it individually. We all sampled each other's. I have a favorite. Okay. But tell me about your almond cheesecake, and then what was your favorite?
Okay. Well, the almond cheesecake is a signature dish. So this is, one of the things that they'll recommend to you if you say what's good on your menu or what's popular or what's your best seller. It's almond crusted cheesecake. So there's an almond crust, like it's almost like a pie crust that's been broken into bits, and it surrounds a cupcake shaped piece of cheesecake. So all around the edges are the almond bits. The main part of the cheesecake is the normal cheesecake, but somehow there's some type of glossy finishing on the top. Of course, there are 3 tiny little pearls in the shape of a Mickey Mouse that finish that part off. And then around the edge of it are 3 almond twills, which have tiny, tiny bits of edible glitter, and they're cut from an almond crust in the shape of coral. So totally on the theme. Has chantilly cream in the middle of that, and it's good that it's not sweetened. It's an unsweetened chantilly cream. You need the relief from the sweetness of the almond cheesecake. And then there are 3 large dots of the Lambert cherry, Lambert cherry sauce. I wouldn't call it a sauce. That's why I'm stopping, because it's not saucy. It's almost more like a garnish, like a Lambert cherry garnish. The Lambert cherries are very tart, so it adds contrast to the sweetness of the almond cheesecake. I'm a huge cheesecake fan. Lou and I grew up in New Jersey. We ate cheesecake, as soon as we came off the bottle, we were eating cheesecake, cheesesteaks.
I actually had cheesecake in my bottle.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That explains so much. Anyway, so I like my cheesecakes to be that Philadelphia cream cheese style tart. So for me, this is almost a little too almondy. I would say if you're an almond fan, especially because cherry and almond are very complementary flavors, they're very alike, very similar. So if you love almonds or you love cherry-flavored things, this is your dessert. If you are looking for an authentic cheesecake from the New York, New Jersey, Philly kind of area, this is not it, but it's still a delicious dessert. And it is their signature dessert. And I'll tell you, the presentation, you eat first with your eyes, and the presentation was absolutely gorgeous.
This reminded me of the holidays growing up, where at the end of the meal, there were always these Italian almond cookies.
Yes,
and that's exactly the
that's exactly.
There was this core memory that was sort of instantly resurrected when I tried that too. I really liked, even without the cherries, I just liked, and again, with a nice cup of coffee, I think that's a really nice way to end the meal. And Ken, you had the hazelnut chocolate bar, which is chocolate sponge, cassis, and a ganache.
Yeah, my general thing in life is if it's not chocolate, it's not dessert. And so I kind of look straight on the menu for something that's chocolate, and got this. And I will say it really was good. It was hard, like a chocolate bar, like a kind of like a candy bar that you cut up pieces. And the taste was really good. I mean, the chocolate was there, and I had just a little bit. I had saved just a little bit of my Pinot Noir because I like just that tiny bit of red wine with my chocolate, and that was good. Tasting Betsy's cheesecake, that was excellent. I mean, the texture in that was really good. And then I don't want to give away Lou's dish yet, so I'm going to pass it back to him.
So just to sort of round things out, I did have the pineapple bavarois with the shortbread and the blackberry buttermilk ice cream, beautifully presented. We taste with our eyes first. It's almost sort of a baseball-sized pineapple yellow ball with a flower on top and sort of a delicate, they almost look like hidden Mickeys, like in lattice. And I was trying to sort of associate the texture, right? It's not like a flan, and I'm not a big flan person. It's somewhere between like meringue but almost a little bit tighter than a meringue, and it's served over a little shortbread cookie. What I really liked on the plate was the little dollop of the blackberry buttermilk ice cream. We've all tasted each other's. I think the I see why the almond is the star of the show. Was that everybody's favorite?
That probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the chocolate stuff, but the cheesecake was probably my favorite, with second on the chocolate, and the third. And I thought it was a good. The pineapple dish was a good dish, and the texture was okay. It's like when you get too much. You said you don't like flan. When you get things that are jiggling and that texture in your tongue, it's just not right. But this was really good.
I think this pineapple bavarois could easily be the star of the show over the Polynesian. It is so pineapple-y. It is so tropical. The flower on the top is absolutely beautiful and delicate, and there's a little gumdrop in the middle. And then there's this beautiful lacy thing made out of white chocolate that sits under the flower, and then that's all on top of the pineapple bavarois, which is on top of a shortbread cookie. And as Lou mentioned, then there's this beautiful piece of dollop of ice cream on it. So there's it wasn't my favorite, but I didn't have anything here that I wouldn't order again.
Well, I'll tell you, when we first started talking, and you metaphorically in your email were jumping up and down, waving your hands for Narcoossees, I see why. And the only thing I regret was not coming here more often in the last 50. I'm happy that I waited to share this experience with you, but I really am almost surprised at how this sort of fell off my, and I think a lot of other people's radars. I think it is, like we said earlier, it is a very upscale meal that you can also, you can dress up to come here, but you could also come right from the parks and enjoy fine dining overlooking Magic Kingdom. And I think that's what people sometimes forget, is the variety and sort of the levels of fine dining and higher end cuisine that is available throughout the resorts. And I think because of where Narcoossee's is, it's sometimes it's forgotten about. Yes. Although you'd never know tonight because every table is full. We were able to see the fireworks. We were able to see the electrical water pageant. We've been here for
3 days. We've been here for 3 days, Lou.
We've been here for 3 hours. We have never felt rushed at all. No. The service has been exceptional. Yep. I'm really, really pleasantly surprised at just how much I enjoyed this meal. And I look forward to coming back because there's so many other things on the menu that I want to try. Where does Narcoossee sit for you in terms of overall Disney dining experiences? Because we've been talking about Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney World.
It has to be in our top 5. And a lot of that is, and even now in the redecorated, reimagined, redone, it kind of bumps it up even more because the menu is so good. We love Citrus, we love California Grill. We do like table service, and we save our pennies so that we can do table service and enjoy it. But this was so much of the complete evening because you had as Lou said, dinner and a show, dinner and 2 shows. Very knowledgeable server, wonderful drinks and craft cocktails and things that are absolutely unexpected. So I think for me, and Ken will say what he thinks, but for me, this is definitely up in the top 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's even higher than that for me. I think the getting to see things is one of my biggest things. And as we're sitting here, some of the water pageant is coming back. It looks like the other direction. And I think that, it's like if you go up on the California Grill and they have such a great show up there. But with the prefix menu, I'm not as big a fan with that. I like the idea that here you get to choose what you want to have, not just what they kind of want to serve you. And that if you're not as hungry, you still don't have to get everything. And so I'm putting this up in my top 2 or 3 restaurants of the whole place. But this has really been a overall, just from eating and seeing things and the way they've done this place up, redecorating, they have a great job.
Yeah, I have to sort of really give this a lot of thought because I have my list of favorites, and Narcoossee's wasn't on the radar, but it very quickly jumped up. I would love to know from you, our friend who's been metaphorically sitting at the table with us, sharing and enjoying this meal. Have you been to Narcoossee's? Where does it rank for you? What is your favorite item on the menu? Or if you haven't been here before, is it just something that hasn't been on your radar, or why have you not visited as yet? We should mention, too, our server did ask if they do take discounts, so I almost said Tables in Wonderland, but they take annual, remember Tables in Wonderland? But they take annual pass holders. I very much miss that. They do take annual pass holder and Disney Vacation Club discounts. So if you're looking for a special meal, an elegant meal, or just something maybe you haven't done before, I very highly recommend Narcoossee's. Again, I'll put some of the pictures I took of our meal in the show notes, and I'd love to know your thoughts about where Narcoossee's ranks for you. Most importantly, this meal would not have been nearly as good had it not been for the company. I am grateful for your friendship. I'm grateful for this wonderful evening, and certainly for your incredible generosity for the Dream Team. So thank you very much for that. And I thoroughly enjoyed dining with you. We definitely have to do this again.
Yes. If only you could find someone.
Anybody.
Betsy, anybody who lives really close by in Celebration.
But you don't even like food. You were pretty blasé about the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad this wasn't video because y'all would have seen me scarfing down my food. But yes, we are happy to accompany you anytime you want to talk about food or even not talk about food. But Lou, thank you so much for what you do for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and all of the wonderful work you do within our community and how you have created this beautiful ohana of Walt Disney radio folks, old-fashioned box people folks, new-fashioned clubhouse folks, all the folks that are listening. We love you, Lou, and for us to be dining with you tonight, it was our pleasure and our treat. So thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. You're going to make me cry. And Ken, thank you as well.
And I've got about a month left, and then I'm retired. So there might possibly be 1 or 2 days, if only, there might be 1 or 2 days that we're free. So thanks for having us.
I'm already thinking about what I'm going to order the next time I come back. And to quote Elaine from Seinfeld, I mentioned the bisque. If you get the reference, you get the reference. Thank you guys again so very much for tonight. Thank you for joining us virtually at the table. And I will see you at Narcoossee's.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World history, or see how well you pay attention to the details in what you see, hear, experience, taste, or remember. And if you think you know the answer, you can enter for a chance to win a Disney prize package. And this week's trivia contest is brought to you by Factor Meals. Look, we're all busy, really busy, and sometimes, a lot of times, it's really hard to decide what to eat, get all the ingredients, cook it correctly, and then come up with new, different, healthy, and flavorful options day after day after day. Well, a few months back, I discovered Factor Meals, and we have been diving into their chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals at home, and let me tell you, it's been a game changer for both my solo work lunches and then the family dinner table. With more than 35 options each week, plus 55 add-ons from keto to vegan, calorie smart, extra protein, sides, snacks, juices, and smoothies, my family and I love these nutritious, flavor-packed meals. And the best part, all of them are ready in like 2 minutes. So we've waved goodbye to the chaos at the grocery store and endless meal prep, which makes our days a lot smoother, a lot easier, and gives us more time on, well, for me, what I enjoy most, which is eating and not cooking. So I want you to try and experience this as well. So I have a special offer just for you. Head to factormeals.com/WDW50 and use code WDW50 to get 50% off. That's code WDW50 at factormeals.com/WDW50 to get 50% off. Trust me, with Factor, you're not just eating, you are literally upgrading your mealtime experience. Now, before we get to this week's trivia question, let's go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week, we were highlighting just some of the incredible women that have literally shaped Disney history. And your question last week was to tell me, who was the first female Disney Imagineer? Did you get this right? Who was the first name that came to mind? Because the answer was Harriet Burns. She was the first woman hired by Imagineering in a creative capacity, and she helped to design and prototype and build theme park attractions at Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and the World's Fair at 6465. She worked side by side with the men in the model shop wielding saws and lathes and sanders, all while wearing the required heels and dresses. And she worked on attractions like Carousel of Progress, Sleeping Beauty Castle, Pirates of the Caribbean, Matterhorn bobsleds, and the Haunted Mansion. Most notably, she also worked and is credited with helping to design the first attraction using audio animatronics, which was Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Anyway, I took all the correct entries, randomly selected one, and last week you were playing for a WDW Radio 3D keychain, stickers, pin, and a special item that I picked up for the winner from the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Terry P. So Terry, congratulations. I'll get your prize package out to you right away. And if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. Sailing takes me away to where I've always heard it could be. Thank you, Christopher Cross. This week's question is to simply tell me, where in Walt Disney World can or could you sail the River of Time? Where in Walt Disney World can you sail away on the River of Time? You have until Sunday, Easter Sunday, happy Easter if you celebrate, March 31st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast. Again, you're going to play for the keychain, the stickers, the pin, and this week I'm going to throw in a mystery prize. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Huge thanks to you for subscribing and tuning in. But quickly, before you go, just a couple of things. I'd love to know from you, what are your thoughts on Narcoossee? Have you been before? Is this maybe adding it to your Disney bucket list? Come be part of the community conversation. Talk about this week's show and anything you want in the Disney, Marvel, or Star Wars universe over in the WDW Radio Clubhouse at wdwradio.com/clubhouse. And if you have a suggestion for the show, you can feel free to post it there. And if you're enjoying the show, and I really hope that you are, please help support it from just $1 per month as part of the WDW Radio Nation. Your help not only helps to bring the shows and live broadcasts to life, but also gives you exclusive rewards like scavenger hunts, group calls, and surprise monthly care packages. Plus, you're also going to be supporting our Dream Team project, which has raised more than $550,000 for children with life-threatening illnesses to visit Walt Disney World through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You can learn more and join the WDW Radio Nation family at wdwradio.com/support. I sincerely appreciate your friendship and your help and your support, and I cannot wait to welcome you into the nation. Please also follow along and connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mongello on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And again, make sure you like the WDW Radio page on Facebook and join the Clubhouse and turn on notifications. I'm going to be traveling over the next couple of weeks, including somewhere in next week that is very special that I cannot wait to share with you. So if you turn on notifications, you'll not only be able to join us every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for WDW Radio Live, but you'll also get notified of other updates and blog posts and events. Speaking of which, make sure you check out our events page at facebook.com/WDW Radio. I have information there about our next meet of the month in Walt Disney World, our next meet on the road in London in May, our group Adventures by Disney to Japan in 2025, and our WDW Radio group cruises on the Disney Magic this October and on the Disney Treasure in February 2025. If you have a question, a comment, or just want to say hello from the parks, call the WDW Radio voicemail at 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1, and I will play it on the air. And when you are planning or thinking about your next adventure or looking to book your next cruise, let MouseFan Travel be your guide. They are my official and recommended travel provider for more than 17 years because it's who I use. More importantly, it's who I trust for you. So whether you're thinking about your next magical vacation to a Disney destination or any other location in the world, MouseFanTravel.com offers personalized service, expert advice, incredible deals to make your trip unforgettable, and all their services come at no cost to you. Don't just take my word for it. You can experience the magic for yourself and see why MouseFanTravel.com is my one and only go-to for all things travel. Please also visit LouMongello.com. Find out how maybe I can come to speak to your event, conference, business, or school. with customized presentations about lessons learned from the Disney parks on customer service and experience, and learn more about some of the different ways we can work together to help you turn your idea, business, brand, content, product, or channel and take it to the next level. And if you go to facebook.com/Lou Mongello, I have a short video showcasing some of the things I'm working on now and we're going to be releasing in the next few weeks, because I really do want to repay the favor and the gift that you've given me and help you live the life that you dream about any way that I possibly can. And finally, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, not only can I ask that you please help share the show and tell a friend, but if you can, rate and review the show over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you again so much for spending and sharing your time with me this week. I hope to see you in the clubhouse during this week. And until next time, remember to choose the good, find joy in the journey, and have a great day and an even better tomorrow. I love you. I appreciate you. See ya.
Sorry, Lou. Last time I'm going to try. Hey, Lou, this is Jim Smith calling from Hanover, Mass. I loved listening to your recent episode on the most influential women in Disney history. You and Kendall did a fantastic job capturing both the big names and the lesser-known names, and I actually quite enjoyed crafting my own list in my head before listening and kind of seeing where I matched up. I did want to add one lady that I thought would really be nice to add to the list, and that is Hazel George. And she was, of course, a Disney studio nurse and also a contributor to songs and lyrics on things like the Mickey Mouse Club and some live-action films. But it was really her role as a nurse for the studio, and quickly she became a personal nurse to Walt Disney, who was plagued throughout his adult life with neck injury that he sustained from playing polo. She treated him on a pretty much a daily basis, and they grew to be quite good friends, and she was somewhat of a confidant for Walt, and he would seek a little bit of guidance. He would sort of de-stress at the end of the day, and the two of them had quite an amazing friendship. He would tell her some things that I don't think he told a whole lot of people. And she was able to give him an opinion without being too nervous about sort of talking back to the boss. She also helped to solicit contributions to Walt's Mickey Mouse Park from a lot of the studio members at the Disney Studios, which of course raised Roy Disney's eyebrows and gave him some pause and got Roy on board with what would ultimately become Disneyland. So for many reasons, I think Hazel George had a lot more influence on Walt than maybe most people realize. And when you have influence on Walt, you have influence on the Walt Disney Company. So she would be an entry that I would consider for most influential women in Disney history. Thanks so much, Lou. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for a great episode, and looking forward to the next one. Bye.
Hey, Lou, it's Patrice Roberti from Metro Boston. I was listening last night to the replay of the show about the top 10, number 773, top 10 buildings in Walt Disney World. And I just really loved it so much. I had heard it before, but I've just a joy to hear it again. I got thinking that I suspect you have two kind of listeners at least. But one is probably the people like you who go to the parks all the time, know them really well, been going for years, know all the stuff, remember things that are gone now. And I bet you there's a lot of others like me who are into the armchair travel, are really glad to hear about these things, are really glad to be able to look them up on YouTube for things that I wouldn't see because they're gone, or like Mary Blair mural at the Contemporary. You know, I'm just not going to fly down to Florida just to see it tomorrow, but to be able to hear you talk about it and go see it was really great. And the armchair travelers get to do it without the heat or the crowds, and it's very, very pleasant indeed. So thank you very much for that, and it was a joy to hear you three guys talking about the buildings and just around it and various aspects of it. It's really great. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.